The day the world stopped. Every civilization believes it has mastered its environment. We build skyscrapers that pierce the clouds, grids that span continents, and digital networks that move at the speed of light. But every civilization has a breaking point. For ours, it wasn't a world war, a financial collapse, or a virus. It was a temperature. In January 2026, the global thermostat didn't just drop, it shattered. Within 72 hours, the invisible systems that keep us fed, warm, and moving began to buckle under an atmospheric weight they were never designed to carry. They are calling it the frozen shutdown. It is a $115 billion atmospheric heist, a theft of energy, time, and life that has paralyzed two hemispheres simultaneously. As the world sits in a dark, shivering silence, one question remains. How did we become this fragile? And more importantly, what happens when the ice refuses to melt? Our story begins on the extreme edge of the inhabited world, the Kamchatka Peninsula, a land of volcanoes and ice that is no stranger to winter. But what happened in January 2026 was not a winter. It was an erasure. The atmosphere transformed into a giant, relentless pump, dragging moisture from the Sea of Okhotsk and dumping it inland in a phenomenon locals have dubbed the snowcalypse. Residents in Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky woke up to a world that had literally vanished. 40-foot snowdrifts. To put that in perspective for you, that is tall enough to completely submerge a 3-story house and still have room to park a car on the roof. The city's high-density apartment blocks, the rigid concrete standard of Soviet-era urban design, became vertical traps. Windows on the 4th floor suddenly became the new front doors. This wasn't just heavy snow. It was a total reconfiguration of geography. The infrastructure of the city simply surrendered. Logistics failed instantly. When the bread and milk supplies ran dry, the city didn't turn to snowplows. They were useless against drifts this high. They turned to 8x8 monster trucks and specialized military off-roaders just to move the sick. This is the new demographic reality. The urban density we once saw as our greatest strength has become our primary liability in the face of extreme cold. In the snowcalypse, if you aren't self-sufficient, you are a hostage. While Russia was being buried in white, North America was being encased in glass. This is Winter Storm Fern, a 2,000-mile front that turned the American South into a crystalline graveyard. But Fern brought a different kind of terror. While Russia fought the snow, the South faced the glaze. This isn't the ice you find in your freezer. This is supercooled moisture that hardens on impact into a substance resembling liquid concrete. It doesn't just sit on things, it binds to them. 1 million people lost power in a single afternoon. To understand why, you have to understand the math of the grid. A standard span of power line is roughly 300 feet. A half-inch of ice adds 300 pounds of weight to that line. But when the storm intensifies and you hit an inch of ice, that weight jumps to 800 pounds. The grid didn't just fail, it physically snapped. From the suburbs of Dallas to the coast of Maine, the sound of the winter of 2026 wasn't the wind, it was the rhythmic, terrifying crack of transformers exploding and ancient trees shattering like glass under a weight they could no longer support. Now, we have to talk about the strategy behind the shutdown, the cold, hard numbers. In the digital age, cold is the most expensive commodity on Earth. Natural gas futures surged by 9% in hours, then spiraled to a 25% increase as heating demand hit levels not seen in 60 years. 13,000 flights were canceled in a single week. This didn't just ruin vacations, it severed the just-in-time supply chains we rely on for everything from life-saving medicine to the high-end microchips that power our AI. The Gulf of Mexico, the beating heart of the global energy market, saw a 57% reduction in crude oil export capacity. When the machines freeze, the economy bleeds. Total estimates for the damage now exceed $115 billion. This is the staggering price of a world that was built for yesterday's climate, now struggling to survive today's reality. As we sit in our frost-covered homes, huddled around the glow of a single candle, waiting for the lights to come back on, a single question haunts every war room and weather station on the planet. How? How did a few degrees of difference cause the collapse of $1 trillion infrastructure? Why did the air turn to ice? And why did the clouds turn to concrete? To understand the chaos on the ground, we have to look up. We have to look into the invisible, vertical architecture of the sky. The answer lies in something we call the temperature sandwich, and it is the most dangerous recipe.